I'm here at Bar-Roque Grill today, a 5-time back-to-back winner of the Michelin Bib Gourmand award, in search of the best steak in Singapore. And today we are here for their Tomahawk Steak. Very exciting stuff today. Firstly, we finally hit something that is Michelin recommended. Not just recommended, but the holder of a Michelin Bib Gourmand for 5 years straight. The Michelin Bib Gourmand is an award given to establishments that offer diner a value for money gourmet experience. I briefly saw the prices and it's either one, the value that we are going to get today is through the roof, or two, the people giving out these awards are from royalty. Because a peasant like me has a very different idea of value for money. And secondly, we are getting scammed today with the all-famous Tomahawk Steak. The Tomahawk Steak is simply a bone-in ribeye with at least 5 inches of bone still intact. Why is it a scam, you ask? Because having all that bone does next to nothing for the steak. All it does is help insulate heat, so the areas closer to the bone will be less done. It will not add flavour because the cooking techniques for steaks are very quick. It will never be enough to extract any flavour from the bones. And then you end up paying a premium just for the bone to sit on the table. But it does make it look very cool. And that's very important. So let's get it, boys. We got their supplier, boys. 一个人 ，one 有做定位的外面啊，这个可以，谢谢。I'm here for the Tomahawk today.
Tomahawk, I don't think. Oh no. Let me check for you first because Tomahawk for 1 person is very big, no?
Yeah.
They go by the bone.
The weight. The average weight is how much?
Probably more than 1 kg.
More than 1 kg.
Let me check for you.
Okay, okay. Check for me first. Thank you. Wow. If we don't have Tomahawk, what are we gonna buy?
1.3
1.3.
I'll check for you whether I have the Cote de Beouf or not.
Oh, not the same.
Not the same. Both are ribeye, but Tomahawk, the bone is
Cote de Beouf, Cote de Beouf.
Cote de Beouf.
Cote de Beouf. Cote de Beouf is better because you pay for less bone. 1.3 188 per kg Hello? It's okay, it's okay. I got the YouTube money. I got YouTube money to sponsor. I didn't think that they will do the distinction, but the difference between Tomahawk and Cote de Beouf, both are bone-in ribeyes. But Tomahawk has to have at least 5 inches of bone to show for. Does it do anything? Absolutely not. Never buy a Tomahawk. Absolutely never buy a Tomahawk. Even buying a bone-in ribeye is questionable already.
Also very big, 1.3.
1.3 Can. I'll take it.
You take it?
I'll take it.
How you like it?
Medium rare.
Medium rare?
Yeah. What's the breed?
1.3 like that.
Yeah, but the breed, or just Australian?
Australian.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Each.
Okay. Yeah, okay, I'll take it. Yeah, thank you. If you have been watching the series, there is a packing order. You have your USDA primes, you have your Japanese ones, you have Australian beef, but any Australian beef that is worth money, right, has an MB score to it. If it does not have an MB score, that means it's the lowest quality and it's very cheap. A lot of the cheap beefs comes from Australia and New Zealand. So if this is cheap beef, if the meat quality does not like impress me, right, this is freaking expensive. So like they said just now, the beef is dry aged for 21 days in-house, at least 21 days, so depending on when the customer ordered the beef, and cooked in a high temperature oven with Argentina charcoal. There are also sauces, but they are $6 a pop. The Michelin Bib Gourmand is an award given to recognize establishment that offer. Thank you. Yeah, bread. Don't smell like sourdough. I think it might be wheat or rye. Okay, this is not as cold as Wolfgang, but I prefer room temperature butter, I guess. What kind of sundari bread is this? Super tough exterior, but very soft interior. And it's the first bread that tastes like expensive bread, I think. Very, very tasty bread. Thank you.
1.3.
Yeah.
So with mustard.
Yeah.
And sea salt.
Okay, thank you. The smell might not be like super impressive, but the color of this is so even and so dark brown. Super nice coat on the steak though. This is a super black one too. Wow, that part was delicious. Well, where do I begin? Where do I begin? The steak is good. But all the steaks in my head are fighting right now. We talk about meat quality. They don't put any certification or any grades in the menu, but this meat is not bad. It is tasty, it is tender, there's a good amount of intramuscular fat flavor, but it's not outstanding. It's good. It's below USDA prime but above the cheap beef that we have tried. Then we talk about the dry aging. This will be my second time having dry aging, and if I were to be honest, I will not be able to tell if this was dry aged. If you really pay attention to it, there is something there, but it's not obvious to me whether it came from dry aging, whether it's that funk, or whether it came from the charcoal, or whether the meat, the beef itself tastes like that. It is not like Wolfgang where, you know, one whiff you know this is rotting, this is fermentation. The dry aging is also good. Then we talk about the char. This color is so nice. It's beautiful, it's so even. And that translates to great brown meat flavor. On top of that, I think they snuck in some herbs and spices, which is very, very subtle, so that you're not overwhelmed with the beef flavor. A lot of the factors, right, are like comparable but beneath the steaks that we have tried. But the one thing that this steak stands out in, right, is the charred fat. There are these crispy parts of literally charred fat. It is salty, it is crispy, it is not even just a bit crispy, it's literally crispy, and it tastes amazing. And then we talk about the misses. Nothing is bad other than the price point. Because although this is a value for money gourmet experience, this steak is gonna be $300, which is like $220 USD. It is more expensive than the previous steaks that we have tried. And if I were to be very honest, it makes bistecca look very good. Because at this price point, the quality of meat is worse. The charcoal is not as obvious as bisteccas, and the dry aging is so subtle that you shouldn't be paying for subtle dry aging. If you want something to be dry aged, it needs to be very obvious. It doesn't have to be over the top smelly like our 60 days dry aged one at Wolfgang, but it needs to be apparent. Oh, there is a miss. I'm not a fan of it, of slicing the steak so thin. I think it just dries out the steak, and I cannot choose the thickness of steak that I want to bite. So if you cut it thick, right, like Wolfgang, right, I can still cut it across, perpendicularly across, to decide the thickness that I want in my mouth. But when you cut it like this, then I'm forced to eat a thin slice already. It's also a cop-out, because when the steak is cut so thin, right, it's gonna be more tender. But I won't say that's a hard miss. I think maybe that's a personal preference. I'm gonna be very honest. I'm very distracted by the Michelin Bib Gourmand saying that this is value for money. What nonsense. This price point is nowhere lower than any of the steakhouse in the list. If anything is higher, the portions are not bigger if you scale it by price. I don't see how the award makes sense, but that is not the fault of this restaurant. So I'm trying to separate the two first. But while I do that, while I think about the verdict, I shall go and settle the bill, and I'll see you guys soon. Recap. Hits. Good meat, but not great. It feels like it's below a USDA prime, but still very sweet, not like cheap beef at all. Good. Hit number 2, very subtle dry aging. Afterwards, when the beef was cooled down a little bit more, I think the dry aged flavor comes out more. Still not very obvious, but at least it adds to the meat. Hit number 3, nice crust and seasoned very well. It almost makes me think as though there's a herb and spice rub that comes with the beef. The exterior is very tasty and has a beautiful color. And the biggest hit of all, hit number 4, delicious crispy fat. When it comes to ribeye or cuts that have like chunks of fat on them, put a little bit more extra salt and like really press it against the heat, right? It will turn out crispy and really delicious. Under the crispiness, there will be that liquid rendered fat that will be so delicious. And then misses. It is sliced too thinly for my liking. I think this damages two things. One, it damages the juiciness. The steak is not juicy or not amazingly juicy, even though I think there is the potential of it being juicy because the cross section of the meat actually looks pretty good in terms of marbling. And then 2, it just cops out the tenderness. I can't really tell whether the steak was tender or not, because it's already cut thinly. And after I cut it again, right, it's so small. Like obviously it's not going to be too tough already. And the second miss is the price. It is up there with the top tier steakhouses. And to be fair, it has a lot of characteristics that the top steakhouses have. It has good meat, it has dry aged flavor, it has the smokiness from the charcoal, but each of these categories seems to fall short of its competitors. I had to like zero myself and not let myself get affected by Michelin, because it is a great restaurant and it is a great cut of steak, but to call it value for money is such a tone-deaf description. So yeah, verdict. 1 steak, I will walk for the steak. 2 steak, I will take a bus for the steak. And 3 steaks, I will go anywhere in Singapore for the steaks. And Bar-Roque Grill is 2 steaks. Great cut of meat, really all-rounder. You get a little bit of everything, but nothing really punches hard. Not having juiciness and tenderness were huge hits to take. At $290, it is not good enough to be an all-rounder. I said it, my money, I said it. You need to punch hard, be it Keith's the Beef's marination or secret sauce, be it dry aged flavor, be it having good meat like bistecca. It has to have a weapon and really capitalize on it. You cannot spend $300 and walk away not feeling not just impressed, but like thoroughly impressed. And that is also all I have for you guys this time. If you want to check out the other best steaks in Singapore video, you can click over there. If not, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!